When you make that decision to enter into therapy, and that can come in a lot of different forms. You can go to fix a certain issue. You can go, to strengthen your relationship with your spouse. You can go for all these different reasons, But I think once I stepped into that realm, the one thing that I wasn't prepared for was the reactions that I got from people. Because especially being male, and you mentioned, that you have a therapist or you've been in therapy, they start looking at you sideways, And it bothered me at first, but I worked through it. And you get to a point where I don't want to say you kind of wear it like a badge of honor in a way, but you're I don't know. For me, you get to a point where you're proud of the work that you've done.
Yeah.
And the commitment that it takes. It is really, it's hard, but anything that's rewarding is going to be hard.
Yeah.
And I would challenge you to define what hard is.
Yes.
Now, Marianne brought that up to me one time, and I'm really thankful. I still remember that conversation because I'm like, wow. She said, do you want to share, your therapy session? I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, it was really hard. And she says, well, what was hard about it? Why was it hard? So we would, we would start to kind of pursue that. What does hard mean? Because hard to me wasn't hard to her, which maybe was hard to you, but not someone else. And so it got back to asking for clarity is so important.
Yeah.
Whether it's the meaning of a word or a phrase, I don't know. But I'm a big proponent of therapy. If you're going to the gym and you want to learn techniques, you hire someone. If you want to, if you can't do your taxes, you hire someone. It's so important when you get right down to it. If we start to prioritize, because that's what we're talking about, is prioritizing, what's more important than you, in the overall scheme of things. And why wouldn't you want the best for yourself?
Right.
You don't? Oh, why?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Why would I not want to evolve and grow and become a better version of me, and to become more peaceful, to become more relaxed?
Right.
I mean, life. We're meant to enjoy life, and we're meant to learn from it. And no one said it was going to be easy.
Sure.
It might be simple. And not easy, especially marriage counseling, especially during these times when we have so many overlays of stress as a result of what we've been through for the past 2-3 months, however long it is at this point, or however long it's going to go. So we can't deny that some people are dealing with grief because they have lost loved ones, or they've lost a business. Others are dealing, there's so many layers that we're dealing with that we can't negate that. We can't forget that and expect ourselves to be, like right back where we were.
Right.
It is going to take some time to get there. And if we keep asking the question of what am I trying to teach myself? How can I be a better person? How can I evolve? What is my soul trying to teach me?
Sure.
And
a funny thing, that I learned was there were things that I would do for Marianne and I would do for my boys that I wouldn't do for myself.
Knew right where you were going. Yep.
So I always said that I started therapy for one reason and I stayed with it for another.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't think I needed it. What's the problem? We can talk it out, all the different, but, and she kind of had to, she drugged me to the first session. And it wasn't even about us, it was about one of our boys. But Marianne had the foresight to realize that it was a family issue. It wasn't his issue.
Right.
And I was focused on the fact, well, it's his issue.
Yeah.
We need to, guys, make a list, And gradually I came to the realization that it was a family issue. And gradually I came to the realization that there's more than two emotions,
And what would those two emotions be?
Well, you're either happy or you're pissed off. What else is there?
Now we know the answer to that.
Well, now we know. Yeah. But I can't express enough how, the changes, because people have issues during the, quote, good times, whatever that means.
Right.
Well, now you throw them in some challenging times and it magnifies everything.
Really, yes. Clarity.
Yes.
And actually, this was already broken. We just were avoiding it. We were keeping ourselves busy. We weren't seeing it was broken.
Right.
It's been broken for years.
Yes.
Now we either need to fix it or we are going to be divorcing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what I've been dealing with in clients. And I just want to share that I know that you check with Marianne and she's fine with you sharing. And I check with Monty, my husband, because he knows that even when I do a workshop or that we're talking, we're sharing.
Sure.
Their life, but it's with their permission.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. And that's where the trust comes in our relationship too, because she trusts me enough to know that I'm going to be respectful.
Yes. Very
important.
And
there's I don't want to get too gushy, but there's a lot of times when I really do stand in admiration of the work that she's done, because she's worked on issues that sometimes I stand back and I look at, and I'm amazed, because she was able to go from the acceptance of what went, or the needs she got or didn't get or whatever, and the issue with the particular person, without going into details, she was able to transcend the work to the point where she's actually thankful.
Right.
That it was a gift.
Right.
Whatever thing that happened.
Yes, and it can be horrendous, but when you get to that point, to realize it is what honed you to who you are today.
Yeah.
Because of the work that she did, you did, I've done.
That's a tough one. That's because there's some things that I still haven't come to grips with. I'm not ready, maybe to take that leap but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Well,
so,
I have a saying, I'm sure other people have it too. I'm not walking on water yet.
Yeah. So,
which means there is room to grow, room to become better, more kind, more to become strong, and more defined in knowing who I am.
Right.
And being more kind does not make me a pacifist.
Right.
It means that I don't have to be reactive, that I can act, not react.
Yes.
And there's a difference there, acting from a place of centeredness rather than reacting, of which I've caught myself a few times over this, that I've been in reaction, and then, I've had to put myself on timeout. And thank God I had enough awareness and then the next day or later to apologize when I've needed to. There's nothing wrong with putting off an apology so that it's heartfelt and it has meaning. We don't want to just apologize as a way of trying to do, surfacey.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, apologies are tricky. And what I mean by that is forced apologies, to me, have no meaning.
Correct. Yeah.
So I always ask myself, okay, well, I need to apologize. Let's give Marianne as an example. I need to apologize for Marianne because maybe I said this or that or came across whatever. But I always look at why I'm apologizing, because let's face it, there's lots of times in my life that I've apologized to someone over something simply because I felt bad and I wanted to feel better.
Okay.
And it wasn't about them at all. I just wanted to feel better.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
You know, so sometimes I just stop, and Marianne says I overanalyze stuff, and I'm like, well, what do you mean? When do I do that? How often do I do that? But again, we balance each other out. You know.
So I have a closing question for you, and that is, what would you want to leave with the audience who are taking the time to listen to us? You know, what would that heartfelt message, what would that masculine message be? Maybe to the brothers, maybe to the sisters.
I think from a guy's perspective, you know, be the protector. Realize that there's certain things that are out of our control. Know the difference. It's like the Serenity Prayer. Know the difference. You know, clean up your side of the street. I'm a big proponent of that. I love that saying. You know, I'm not going to ask you to clean your side until my side is spick and span.
Right.
And just communication.
Yeah.
You know, ask for clarity.
Oh.
You know, because so many times we don't have a clue. You know, and you know how men and women are. You know, I'm from Venus, you're from Mars. I don't remember how that goes.
Well, we have basic instinctual differences, which purposefully so, because we fit together really well if we're not at war with each other.
Right.
And we do have two different languages where men are, if you're in your male side, you're more concise. If I'm in my female side, I'll talk more. But we could pick up the other side too, depending. Right. When I'm in male, I'm very concise. So what I would share kind of as a closure, heartfelt, would be that if you look at a compass, and you understand there's 8 directions on a compass, and we have a north pole and a south pole of our planet. We have energy and meridian lines. There are at least 8 ways of doing any one thing correctly that will get the job done.
Sure.
There's your way, there's my way, and then what are the 6 other ways? So if we look at it that way, we can be on the same team with each other.
Right.
We can acknowledge. And so one of the things is, from my perspective, this is how I feel. Right. When I say my perspective, it totally gives you space to agree with me or not to agree with me.
Sure.
But that little from my perspective means I understand that this is just me, and I might be right, I might be wrong. This is just where I'm at. And then I want to listen to your perspective. And now what are the other 6 ways? Right. So that's where sometimes if you can't get to those other ways, you do therapy. You go to a counselor.
Yes.
You know, you get a second opinion from a doctor.
Yeah.
So the idea is recognizing we are like the sun and the earth. You're the sun, and I'm Grandmother Earth. We're different, and we need each other.
Right.
We are in this wonderful relationship where I receive your spark.
Right.
And I can then birth, Mother Nature.
Yes.
And so we don't have to be at war with each other. The war is really inside of ourselves, and we need to do our own personal work so that we can stop being at war with ourselves, so we can actually see the beauty and respect each other and understand, and this too shall pass. Yeah. As long as we keep growing, we keep knowing there's something better, and we can go for it. We don't have to accept how things are. Right. Or where we're at. Yeah. But we do need to keep asking, what's a better way of doing this? How can I grow? Right. So. Yeah, for sure. And every day you wake up and you say, how can I make, I say, how can I make Marianne's day better? You know, little thing. Doesn't have to be lovely. A big thing. Yeah. And how can you make your day better? Because if you're happy, and if you're in alignment, then it's much easier to make someone else happier. Right. To thine self be true, Sure. Yeah. Sure. Cory. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate you. I love talking with you. We always get so much accomplished. The same. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Great. Thank you. Yeah.